Hello and welcome to another short video. Today we've got a 2017 Toyota Avensis, and as you can see, this has got the standard factory fit radio in it, and the owner would like an Android head unit putting in there. So we bought an adapter surround to take a 10.1 inch Android head unit. So we'll take you through removal of the standard radio and fitment of the new fascia panel with the 10 inch Android head unit. So we're going to start out by removing the side trims and removing the factory fit radio. The way things usually go with Toyota is this some trim pieces either side which will pop out, and then there'll be a fascia panel held on by some plastic trim clips, and normally the radio itself is retained by a couple of brackets and four 10mm screws, but we've not taken one of these out before, so not sure what there is behind there. But anyway, let's pull it out and take a look. So just firmly pull the radio forward to release it from its clips, and remove the connectors at the back, and we'll see what connectors we're dealing with. Just press the tab down, pull them out. Okay. Okay, so having removed the radio, let's take a look at the connectors. Here we've got, that's part of the connector that goes to the dash aircon controls. These are radio connectors here, so we've got the standard 10-pin Toyota, which is power, ground, illumination and front speakers. We've got a 6-pin connector there, which is for the rear speakers. We have a 28-pin connector here, which carries things like the reversing signal, a whole bunch of other signals, speed, handbrake on, and CAN. And then this is a 24-pin connector, which carries the reversing camera. So the reversing camera connections over here on the right, you can see the white, the red and the black wires. This grey connector here is a USB connector. This is a standard Toyota USB connector. So this cable here goes down to a USB socket in the center console. So we need an adapter lead to go to that. We've then got the standard Toyota FM antenna, and we have another antenna connection for the DAB antenna on this car, but we're not actually installing DAB today. So those are the connections, and we need an adapter harness which will go from those connectors to the Android head unit. I'll take you through that in a moment. So here's the old head unit as we've removed it from the vehicle, and included in this front panel moulding is retention for the air conditioner controls. This is the new fascia panel that we bought from AliExpress, and we've already installed into it a 10-inch head unit, 10-inch Android head unit. And we've gone for a unit that we've used before. This is the M300S. It's the main board's manufactured by a company called FYT, Fang Yi Tong, better known as FYT, one of the big manufacturers of Android head unit main boards. This particular unit uses the 7862 8-core processor, and it has 4 GB of RAM and 32 GB of program memory. So it's not a particularly powerful head unit, but it's fine for Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, which is what a lot of people use with these head units. If you want to run the head unit off, say, a hotspot or using a 4G SIM card, then you might want to go for a faster unit, 7870 based unit. That's a more powerful processor with more memory, something like 8 GB of RAM and 128 GB of program memory. So one of the things we need to do first is we need to remove the aircon panel from the old head unit assembly. It just pops out, and then there are retaining clips on the back of the new head unit where the panel will snap into place. The other thing we need to do is on the back of the old head unit, you'll see there are these yellow and pink retaining clips, and we need to transfer those to the relevant pegs on the new fascia plate. And we just need to check those pegs are clean and tied, there's no flashings on the plastic moulding, and then we'll swap these retaining clips across. They must go in the same place, so there's yellow ones and pink ones, and they are actually a little bit different. This is the back of the head unit here, and what we got when we purchased the head unit was a harness and a CANbus adapter, because this head unit uses CANbus. So the harness that's supplied, it's kind of a universal harness. So at one end of it here we've got the 16-pin ISO connector, which is pretty much a standard for these Android head units, and that will plug into the 16-pin socket. So that's the main connector that carries the power, the ground and the front rear speaker outputs, a few other functions, and it mates up to a whole bunch of other connectors. Now this is kind of a universal connector, so it fits several models, and we may not use all of these connectors. Some may end up loose and unconnected. So what we will be using is the 10-pin power and ground connector. That's this one, the 10-pin power and ground connector. We'll be using the 6-pin rear speaker connector. It's a 6-pin connector. There's actually only 4 pins populated, just the left and the right rear speakers. We'll be connecting up the 28-pin connector that uses that carries the CANbus, handbrake on signal, speed signal, reverse signal, and so forth. And we'll be using the 24-pin connector that carries the signal from the reversing camera. And you can see at the right hand side here of this connector, I don't know if you can see the yellow and the pink wires. The yellow is the signal, the pink is the power supply to the reversing camera, and then we've got a couple of blacks which are grounds. And on this harness, you'll see there's this small multi-way connector, and that plugs into the CANbus adapter. So the CANbus takes CANbus signals from the car, and it decodes them and sends them to the head unit. And you can see that this is an RZ FT02. RZ means that it's manufactured by a company called Raise in Shenzhen, China. So when you set the head unit up and you go to select the type of CANbus adapter, you need to select the Raise adapter. So this is going to decode the CANbus signals, and it's going to send them to the head unit, and they will go down these 2 wires here. So these 2 wires with this little connector connect into the CANbus connection on the back of the new head unit. The other connector you'll see here is the Toyota FM antenna adapter. So we've got a piece of coaxial which carries the FM signal. The blue is a pre-wired 12 volt from the head unit that supplies the Toyota antenna adapter on the car. You'll also see there are 2 yellow RCA connectors to carry reversing signals. We're only going to use one of those. There's 2 because there is both a 20 and a 24-pin reverse camera adapter, and we're only going to be using the 24-pin. And of course we've got the DIN coaxial connector which goes into the antenna socket on the head unit. Now also on the head unit we've got a connector here for the GPS antenna. So the head unit is supplied with a GPS antenna which will screw onto there, and we've also got a 4G input. So we do have the facility to use a 4G SIM card with this head unit, and then it can have its own internet connection. Now you can use that, but obviously you then need a data plan and so forth for the 4G cellular network. So we're not actually going to use a SIM card with this head unit, but it's there as an option. So those are the major connections. We also have this adapter lead here, which is actually a connector that mates up with the Toyota USB, the USB lead. So there's a USB lead that goes from behind the dash down to the center console. That grey connector, and that plugs into this black connector, and the white terminals at the end there plug into the corresponding connector on the back of the head unit. Now all these connections on the back of the head unit are different. You can't get them mixed up. So it's foolproof. It's not idiot proof, but it is foolproof. So anyway, let's get on with transferring the aircon controls across, putting the clips on, and then we'll fit it into the car. Now one really important thing is that the Toyota factory reversing camera, on all Toyotas, it operates from 6 volts. So one of the things I'm going to do before we actually connect up the reverse camera connector is I'm going to check that we've got 6 volts. So on that pink wire, the pink wire that's next to the yellow wire, there should be 6 volts. The CANbus adapter within it should have a 12 volt to 6 volt step down. But before I connect the camera up, I'm just going to check that it is actually 6 volts, because if we connect 12 volts to the factory reversing camera, we'll blow it up, and we don't want to do that. So that will be one of the checks that we do before we finalise the installation. Anyway, let's get on with swapping the parts across, and then we'll get back into the car. Okay, so we've connected all the wires up. It looks a bit chaotic, but to take you through them, here is the reverse camera input, which we've plugged into there. It's got that yellow RCA connector on it. Here is a connector that's an adapter that's going to go to the in-car USB, so the Toyota USB extension is going to plug into there. We've then got this little adapter harness here, which has actually got line level rear output, but it's also got the CANbus input there. So from the adapter loom, we're connecting the 2 CANbus wires to these 2 wires that go, part of this pigtail, which go into that connector there. And then we have pigtail that was supplied with the radio here. It's actually got the 4G dongle on it if you want to put a SIM card in, which we're not going to do, but we need to connect it because it has the output for the unit's fan. So it has a cooling fan. If we want that fan to operate, we've got to connect up this pigtail and join the fan wire to this socket, this 12 volt socket, which is on this pigtail. And then we've got the 16-pin Android connector there for the power and the speakers and so forth. The CANbus adapter has been plugged onto the harness, and then we've got all of our sockets here, which are all set to mate up with the connectors in the car. So we need to go back out to the car now and connect these up. Oh, and we've also got the GPS antenna, which is a small SMA connector connected up. It's got a self-adhesive pad on the bottom, which will stick somewhere under the dashboard. So yeah, we're all set to take it out to the car and power it up. And what I'll do before I connect the rear camera, I'll just check to make sure we have actually got just 6 volts on the on that camera connector there, just to make sure that we're only giving 6 volts to the rear camera, because that is something that could go wrong. Okay, so we've powered up the head unit and we just need to go into the CANbus settings. So we're going to the factory settings, password 3368, and then we need to go into the car model. And the Avensis is not actually shown, so what we're going to do is set it for the RAV4. Um, 2013 to 2018. Okay, so that's showing us the, you can see the doors open, we could see the aircon controls there. You might find that the doors are swapped over, because usually these are configured for left-hand drive, so the door ends up as the left one. Now there is a problem with the reversing. Well, it's not really a problem, there's something you need to know on the reversing camera. So if we look behind the unit, it seems that the CANbus, the way this CANbus is configured, we actually have to take this pink wire that comes out of the CANbus, and it says connect this wire when connecting the crown to the reverse connection. So in fact this is the CANbus output for reverse, and it's not pre-wired into the head unit. So we need to go to the 28-pin connector, and on pin 2, which is this brown wire, we're going to de-pin this brown wire, which is the reverse signal to the head unit, and we're going to connect it. We're going to crimp a connector on to this yellow wire coming out of the CANbus, and that will give us a reverse signal for the head unit. Okay, so everything else is connected up okay. That's just the only thing we need to do. So we'll D-pin from the 28-pin connector this brown reverse wire, which signals to the head unit the car's in reverse, and we're going to connect it to this pink wire coming out of the CANbus decoder. Okay, so we've connected the that yellow wire, backup signal wire from the CANbus box to the brown wire that went to pin 2 on the 28-pin connector, and now we've got the reversing camera working fine. Stuck the GPS antenna up under there. Just check everything's connected up, and we're all set to put the radio back into the dash. So we'll just put it back into the dashboard now. So basically snap everything back into place. Okay, and it looks great. So we'll get the unit to boot up. Sorry about the reflections on the screen, a little bit difficult. Okay, so there it is. We've got the doors open. Let's go to the home screen. We've got the aircon control showing at the bottom of the CANbus. So if we put it into reverse, we need the reversing lines and so forth need setting up, but you can see the reversing camera's working. Okay, and we can go back to the try the radio. Okay, so we've everything snapped back into place and everything's working, the reversing camera's working. There's still some setting up to do and so on, but I'll just show the reversing camera. Let's just turn the ignition on. Actually going to reverse. Reversing camera, aircon configuration showing that. The doors are showing, but because it's set up for left-hand drive, I think the driver's door's transposed. I think you can change that in the settings somewhere. There's a lot of settings on this thing to go through. But yeah, looks neat. Job's done.